presentation of the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.
Under Mark Gottfried, the Pack have had a flair for the dramatic. A season ago, 10 games were decided by 4 points or less, including their January matchup with Georgia Tech. Trailing by 11 early in the second half, NC State rallied to force overtime. And in the extra session, T.J. Warren's heroes provided the Pack with the win, their 4th consecutive win over the Yellow Jackets. A year removed from that overtime thriller, the two teams meet again for the only time this season. State and Georgia Tech coming your way next. It's a spring-like day in Atlanta for this ACC Saturday. We could almost play this one outdoors. But come on inside McCamish Pavillion. Teams trying to build momentum for the stretch run with March Madness within view. Today, it's the Wolfpack of NC State trying to get back on track against Georgia Tech, trying to recapture the moment that they had against Miami. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt along with Eddie Fogler. Glad to have you along. This is the time of year, Coach, I would think teams get tired, fatigue becomes a factor, but you're trying to build momentum, and both of these teams need it.
Absolutely, Tim. And when you play in the league of balance that the ACC has, it's hard to maintain your momentum. NC State, a great win over Duke 2 weeks ago or so, has Notre Dame beat last Sunday, loses in overtime. And then they don't show up versus Clemson down 20 at half. They go from a team with momentum to a team now that may be losing confidence. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, loses of close games. 0-7 in the league last Wednesday, goes to Miami and drills a very good Miami team by 20. And all of a sudden, they're playing with confidence and now have momentum. So this is a big ball game for both teams.
Yeah, no question about it. For NC State, I can't figure them out other than they're on a little bit of a slide, but Abu still plays at a very high level.
Well, Abdul Malik Abu is a highly talented, skilled inside player. Great hands, active. Very important, Tim, for him to start playing even better because State is a perimeter team. If he can come through on the inside, it will give State a great balance of outside and inside play, and that young man has tremendous upside for NC State.
You see the double-double, 15 points, 12 rebounds. They'll need every single bit of that today. NC State with its game face on, firmly focused on finding some new momentum. It's a game that Georgia Tech really would love to take home, and it's coming up next.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Toyota, official corporate champion of the ACC. By Food Line, official supermarket of the ACC. By Geico, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by New York Life Insurance Company, official corporate champion of the ACC.
You're looking at McCamish Pavillion in Atlanta, Georgia. NC State starting lineup, it's brought to you by Food Lion. Lacer and Turner combined for 30 a game for you. Barber back in the starting lineup. He's got to be the facilitator. Coach talked about Abu. He's the big star. For Georgia Tech, the starting lineup brought to you by Food Line. Chris Bolden and Travis Jorgensen, they'll do the ball handling. Marcus Georges-Hunt is a scorer. Sampson and Cox have to hit the boards, and Sampson can also fire a 3-ball. We're underway, and NC State has it first. Love these ACC Saturdays, and lately they have been tremendously unpredictable. Look underneath, go to the big fella, Washington with the left hand, and he puts it in. And it's 2-0 Wolfpack.
Excellent execution, first possession. UCLA high post duck in for the jump hook.
We just talked about that before the game. Mark Gottfried wants him to run that UCLA offense and run it all the way through. They almost did that time. Turner for 3. He comes up short. Cat Barber comes back, and now he yells out. Mark Gottfried says, hey, Cat, get into the offense and run it through.
There's the UCLA pop back. These are all options off an offense Coach John Wooden made very famous during his great run at UCLA. 2 post plays, 2 baskets for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, how do you get Trevor Lacey so wide open underneath, and you look at 3rd in the ACC in rebounding margin?
Nice high-low pass there, Tim. That's how they got him open, and there's
Can't figure it out. Georgia Tech plays big. You saw their numbers, and yet they've given up 2 down low here early. And again, left alone underneath. Then the foul will be on Sampson. Our Carolina Ford keys to the game, Coach. Take us through these.
Well, for NC State, Tim, I think they need to get off to a good start. They were down 20 at half. First, Clemson never were in the game, played much better in the second half, but dug themselves too big a hole. And for Georgia Tech, they need to D them up again. They were terrific with their defense. Wednesday night in Miami, they held Rodriguez and McClellan to 6 total points, and Rodriguez was 0 for. I was there. It was a tremendous defensive effort by Georgia Tech.
Good keys, and so far NC State has achieved that early 4-0 start, ran the offense through, had good success with it. Georgia Tech defensively a little bit lax so far.
And a turnover, unforced turnover by Bolden. Georgia Tech, Tim, not a very good passing team.
Abu misses both free throws. He's a 49% free throw shooter, and looked at on those 2 attempts. Really the first offensive set for Georgia Tech in the ball game. Entry pass taken away. Sampson's pass, not a good one. Into the corner. Lacey gives it back. And Lacey in the corner on the other side fires for 3 and bottoms.
Well, off to the great start. Focused to play. A turnover by Sampson. Tim, I looked at the stats. Assist error ratio. I couldn't believe the numbers. Mitchell, Cox, and Sampson. 29 assists, 104 turnovers for those 3 youngsters. You can't win with that kind of assist error ratio.
Here they find Cox down low, but he has a tough time handling the ball. Throws an air ball, and that'll be last touch by Georgia Tech. So a nightmare of a start for the Yellow Jackets. Sampson will go out. Charles Mitchell will come back in. Mitchell was a starter for most of this season.
Well, Mitchell's an outstanding rebounder. Let me go back quickly to the assist-error ratio, Tim. When I coached, I wanted my bigs to have no assists, but I also wanted them to have no turnovers. 0-0 was great with me.
NC State 3 of 4 so far in the ball game, and they lead 7-0. Mark Gottfried still yelling at his team about that UCLA offense and yelling for continuity. And the Wolfpack comes with an empty trip.
And so far, State has gotten the balance we talked a little bit about during the opening here, Tim. They've gone inside. Turner hits the 3. They are a much better basketball team on the offensive end if they can get inside-outside production.
Almost 3 minutes in, Georgia Tech still looking for its first point of the game.
You see the double of the post on Cox, a poor passer.
Good ball movement, but they come away without a bucket. That'll start NC State on the transition. Cat Barber comes back out, and he'll set up the offense. Tell us what a UCLA offense is.
Well, you hit the wing and you cut off. This is the baseline series they run for Turner to shoot jumpers. This is not the UCLA right there. Wow.
They get a good-looking shot, and Abu buries it.
Now, he couldn't do that earlier in the year, Tim. He's getting better. That was a nice step-back fadeaway. Nothing but net.
Marcus Georges-Hunt takes it around his back. He's fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2. So the foul will be on Ralston Turner. That's his first.
Well, Georges-Hunt has the ability. He's a slasher more than a shooter. He gets to the free throw line often, Tim. One of the more productive players in the league getting to the line, has numerous attempts over the season.
He's a 76% free throw shooter. Had that terrific game against Miami in the last outing. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. Does that sound good right now? Marcus Georges-Hunt, a 6'5" junior from College Park, Georgia. This is the second one. And off Mitchell. 9-1, NC State to start this game. Georgia Tech comes with a little bit of pressure, really token pressure, just to bide their time coming across the timeline.
Here's the UCLA cut. Barber off the cut, and they get the guard going to the basket.
They turn it over. Actually, he touched the line, so Barber sat on the line, and that's the first turnover of the game for NC State. Got off to that quick start, Coach. You can feel now things have settled down a little bit. Things aren't as easy for the Wolfpack.
In Miami on Wednesday, Georgia Tech is the one that got off to an unbelievable start, hitting 9 of their first 11 shots.
Bold step back three. They've got to hit some of those shots. You know, you think of Georgia Tech, you think of all the great shooters they've had in the past, like Kenny Anderson and Dennis Scott. Great players like Mark Price. And how about Jarrett Jack? That's what they need, some of that now.
There's the slip of the screen. Nice play.
That foul is going to be on Marcus Georges-Hunt. He had no choice but to go and do it. A hard foul. 15:47 to play in the first half. 9-1 NC State. NC State got down early against Clemson the other night. Couldn't make it all the way back. They wanted a quick start tonight, and they are 4 of 6 this afternoon to start this game.
Well, what I like about it, Tim, you see the 2 inside buckets, and then you see the 3-point shot by Lacey, and it's been inside-outside. Tough hit there by Abu, but this is a very good start for NC State.
And a very poor start for Georgia Tech.
Absolutely, and what I like also about NC State, Tim, 3 assists, only 1 turnover here so far. So they've assisted on 3 of the 4 buckets that they've made.
Georgia Tech, a bad case of the 0 for so far. They're 0 for 4 from the field with 2 turnovers. This is Kyle Washington, the 6'9" sophomore from Chaplin, Minnesota. 70% free throw shooter, good looking big. Buries the first. He averaged 14 points over the last 3 games.
A lot of motion in his free throw, Tim. He takes it way back behind his head. Like to see him shorten that stroke up a little bit.
Pretty successful with it, though. Had his first double-double against Clemson the other night with 15 points and 12 rebounds. Hits 2 free throws there, and it's 11-1. And the way Georgia Tech plays, you've got to believe this is not a scoring team. They make their hay on defense and rebounding, but it's tough for them to come from behind.
Well, you talked about all the great shooters they used to have here at Georgia Tech. They're 15th in the league in field goal percent shooting with this group.
Big rebound by Cox and the putback. Mark Godfrey wanted the offensive foul, thought he put his shoulder down and went into him.
Well, as poorly as Georgia Tech shoots the ball and passes the ball, they are one of the best rebounding teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
This is Lacey. His first bucket of the game.
Boy, he's putting up terrific numbers, Lacey, in every possible way. He's had a great year, the transfer from Alabama.
So Josh Heath comes into the ball game along with Sampson. He comes back in. Cox and Jorgensen go back out for Georgia Tech. Brian Gregory just looking for answers. This is Sampson for 3. We talked about it before. He's usually pretty good beyond the arc.
Well, at 6, 8, or 9, he's actually, Tim, more comfortable facing the basket than playing with his back to the hoop.
Cat Barber looks, thinks about bringing it out, but instead gives it to his star, kicks it out to Turner. Abu again, strong to the rack, good power move.
Very good, Tim, and quick. What I like about it, it's quick.
Eddie's got 6 points. Get inside to Charles Mitchell, back out to Georges-Hunt. Sampson. You're not going to get any closer than that. Well done to get the shot, but they miss it and set up the driving Cat Barber at the other end. Another timeout. 17-3 NC State.
Well, you can see NC State pushing it. Barber to the basket. Give Mark Gottfried and his staff and players a lot of credit. Clemson game didn't show up early. This is a huge game, I think, for NC State, Tim. They're lost 3 in a row. They lose here today. A 4-game losing streak will not bode well. This is big, and they came ready to play. On the other hand, Georgia Tech, again, I was in Miami Wednesday night, had mechanical problems with their plane, couldn't get back Wednesday night, did not get back here till Thursday afternoon, and they look like they're sleepwalking.
Today's coverage of ACC basketball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the nearly 1 million men and women of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines stationed around the globe in 175 countries and on the high seas. We're so proud to have you with us and hope you're enjoying the broadcast. We enjoy you and appreciate you every single day. So 17-3, out to the early start is NC State. Every possession now magnified for Georgia Tech. Nice pass. And a nice finish by Mitchell, but the play was set up by Marcus Georges-Hunt. Drive, draw, and dish.
That was outstanding, Tim.
Now they need a stop, and instead they give a foul. This foul will be on Tadrick Jackson. That'll be his first.
His first 13 foul.
NC State, usually a perimeter scoring team like Lacey does right here, but he throws an air ball. Most of their points have come in the paint today.
Well, exactly, and again, for State to get to where they want to be, they've got to get that inside scoring, Tim. Barber, Lacey, and Turner have taken over half the shots during the season for this team. You just can't win offensively from the perimeter, taking that percentage of outside shots.
NC State has hit its last 4 shots. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, just 1 for 8 at the game, and another Lacey jumper.
Now that's a tough shot right there, Tim. As a coach, I wouldn't be very excited about that, even though it goes in the basket. Very good defense, but perhaps better offense.
Georges-Hunt back to Jorgensen. He looks inside. Mitchell with his jump hook. He does have one of the nicest jump hooks you'll see in the league, and he's built like Wes Unseld was.
He's a
big
dude.
thick space eater.
He's a big dude. State coaches here wanted a double of the post, but no rotation to double by the Wolfpack.
Cat Barber with a jumper. Stop, pop, bang.
Well, Barber not a scorer. Mid-range game.
Wow.
Georgia Tech D'd up Miami. It was unbelievable on Wednesday. State having its way, though, here so far. Here's the double of the post.
This is for 3. They just can't get there. Lacey looks over, gets instructions, so they give it back to Cat Barber. Everything today they want to go through Cat Barber. Begin with him. He's the facilitator.
That's called, Tim, that's called bad shot. Mark Goffrey just threw his hands up in the air like, what are you doing?
Marcus Georges-Hunt is strong with his shot. And another good follow in there by Charles Mitchell, who's come into the ballgame off the bench and given him 4 good points.
Well, Georgia Tech, a really good rebounding team, Tim. They can really, number 3 in the league in rebound margin, number 2 in the league in offensive rebounding.
Need that to climb back into this game. Get it down to single digits should be the first goal.
Here's UCLA high post cut, duck in, high-low pass.
Again, they go over the top. Little jump hook. Too easy. Kyle Washington gets behind everybody, and the 6'9" center with that jump hook is good.
I mean, that's how you draw it up, Tim. That's like, we call that dummy offense. Just run it and like nobody's guarding you. Both teams look tired here, struggling to, oh, wow.
Lacey with his last bucket went over 1,000 points for his career, but that wasn't the shot they want. This bucket will count, and he'll go to the line for 1 more. Josh Heath with a good, strong drive to the bucket. It's 23-11, but the Yellow Jackets trying to climb back into it.
Well, Tim, the UCLA high post comes from John Wooden, the great coach at UCLA, and then Jim Harrick worked for Coach Wooden at UCLA, and then Mark worked with Jim Harrick, and that's where Mark Goffrey has come up with the UCLA high post offense. Barber hits guard to forward here to Lacey. There's the guard cut, UCLA cut, step out, and now there's the duck, and there's the high-low second option of the UCLA high post. It isolates the postman in low for the jump hook. Very well executed.
And Kyle Washington hits that jump hook, but Kyle Washington also picked up his 2nd personal foul. So the 6'9" sophomore in a little bit of early foul trouble. NC State just 3 of 6 from the field. Georgia Tech 3 of its last 6. And they're 8-0 off the bench. Of course, that all came from Charles Mitchell.
NC State 10 of 15 from the floor, 6 assists, 1 turnover.
Heath completes the three-point play and cuts into the lead a little bit.
Yeah, I was talking to you, Tim. A great bad shot by Lacey last possession. 3-point play by Georgia Tech. That's a 5-point bad shot. Georgia Tech now 2-3 zone. First possession of zone so far in this ball game.
I would think that as a coach, and you certainly had great success as a coach, you get off to a start like that, you're going to try a little bit of everything to see what kicks in for your guys.
Well, with Georgia Tech, Tim, they've got one constant, and that's Marcus George's Hunt. Outside of that, Brian Gregory really doesn't know from game to game who the other 4 guys are going to be. So he needs to go into his bench early until somebody else can step up and say, Coach, you got to play me a lot of minutes every game. The other thing I like here, Tim, with Turner out of the game now for NC State, they don't have a 3-point shooting lineup in. Anytime Turner's out of the game, I think you zone NC State.
That was a good move, and it forced a turnover. It's 2 turnovers now for the Wolfpack. Jorgensen drifts to the left side. See how they get this thing going a little bit. Quentin Stevens in the game now for the Yellow Jackets. They tried the little give and go there, and Charles Mitchell was going to the basket, knocked out of bounds. So with 20 on the shot clock, the Yellow Jackets bring it in under their own hoop.
You know, Stevens, Tim, is the only player on Georgia Tech's team shooting over 30% from 3. A poor shooting team. He barely played Wednesday night in Miami, but he's a youngster that can make some baskets for Georgia Tech as he sets an illegal screen on the baseline, and William Humes gets it correctly.
Georgia Tech 0 for 5 beyond the arc.
Slowing NC State down. Soft token 3-quarter court press into the zone. Now this is a 1-3-1. This is a different look zone than last possession, which was a 2-3.
Yeah, exactly my point. Brian Gregory continues to mix and match here to see what they can do to throw him off and out of sync a little bit. Shot clock is down to 8, and they turn it over again. That's the 3rd turnover, and Charles Mitchell gives it right back. Kick it out, wide open 3, bang.
Never fails. Anytime you have an unforced turnover as a coach, I used to sit on the bench and go, okay, what are you doing? 3, 5-point play.
Just had the feeling that Tech was climbing back into this. Oh, nice rebound underneath by Cox. Georgia Tech will get it back. Cox wanted a foul.
Well, you can see the turnover there, and then Mitchell makes an unforced play. Charles Mitchell, who's a really good rebounder, Tim, and does a lot of nice things for Georgia Tech, has 7 assists and 51 turnovers this season.
Georgia Tech got a new 35 here, but a little bit sloppy underneath. But Cox gets his own rebound and puts it back. Down 12.
Anybody but Lacey outside for the most part. You're happy if you're Georgia Tech.
Bolden extends the defense, extends the zone. Way out front to Lacey. Barber. He struggled with his shot. Again, the outlet pass, dangerous one, almost took Bolden out of bounds. And here's Cox, has it blocked. Cross court, 3-pointer. Yes! Travis Jorgensen makes it a 26-17 lead for NC State.
Well, Jorgensen hardly looks to shoot the ball. Wide open 3, knocks it down. He played a great game Wednesday night against Angel Rodriguez in Miami.
So since they went to zone, Coach, it's changed the momentum a little bit, causing problems for the Wolfpack. Here's Barber from outside. Buries it.
Well, that's a big bonus for NC State. If you're Georgia Tech, you don't mind Barber shooting the 3.
Coming into the game, Barber had hit only 2 of his last 13 shots from the field. Tough hook by Cox. Actually had his arm hit, but still banks it in.
Barber 20% from 3, Tim, for the entire season. 5 of 20 coming in.
Back outside to Barber. Over to Lacey. Barber will shoot again from long range, and he's feeling it now as poorly as he's been shooting, and the numbers we talked about, and now he's 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
And confident, which is a big part of a shooter's mentality, letting it go with confidence.
And he's trading 3 for 2, because down this end it's just Cox and Mitchell underneath getting the 2-point putbacks. Inside again to Cox. They're riding his back, and this is a foul on State. So I believe the foul is on B.J. Anya. But look at Cat Barber playing cat and mouse with a defender and then tickling the twine from long range. NC State with 3 threes to make it a 32-19 ball game. Their last 3 shots. Meanwhile, the Ram Power Play brought to you by Ram 1500. The past Tuesday, Pitt Panthers came to Castle Coliseum to take on Virginia Tech. After hitting a game-tying three-pointer at the end of regulation, Adam Smith hit the game-winning 3 in overtime. Smith's 26 points lifted the Hokies to a 70-67 win over the Panthers, and that is our Ram Power Play. 6-2 off of the turnovers. You talked about it. There you have it.
Turnovers generally lead to easy baskets, Tim, and they're bad news.
Well, more difficult than he thought, but Travis Jorgensen does hit it.
Well, you hate to give up baskets on out-of-bounds plays underneath. Nice execution by Georgia Tech. No rotation and defensive help by the Wolfpack.
Back to a man-to-man by Georgia Tech.
And there's the UCLA pinch post. Fakes the handoff. Goes one-on-one ball screen.
Here it is to Washington with that jump hook again. Tech comes away with it. Jorgensen will push it. Looking for numbers, doesn't have it. Bolden for 3. Yes! Down to 8 points.
Simple play. Jorgensen pushes, heads up, doesn't force it, sees the open. Bolden in the corner.
NC State led by as many as 14.
Brian Gregory's asking his assistant coaches, is the NC State stat sheet correct on Barber?
Bolden again. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's going, look at,
who is this guy?
Yeah, 20% from 3. You got to be kidding me. It must be a misprint. I'd start guarding him now. Excuse me, Tim.
Martin gives it back. You've got both Martins playing today.
Baseline screens now for Turner. There it is.
Turner draws iron. Long rebound, and Sampson pulls it down. May have gotten hit in his hip. Comes limping back and grimacing in pain. There's Cox. Cox has become a beast in the first half and walks with the ball.
Georgia Tech really working the offensive boards. Very, very aggressive. Again, the second best offensive rebounding team in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And in some ways, offensive rebounding is huge, Tim. It's extra possessions, but it does compensate some for the turnover problem that Georgia Tech's bigs have.
At least Cox is showing some effort. He's showing a lot of mobility underneath. He's got 5 rebounds already in the ball game and has established himself as a factor.
Absolutely. He's a big body in there. Good hands.
Shot clock really has not been a factor, but another turnover. It's an offensive foul on Abu.
Well, that's play called 15 by Mark Godfrey. We're over by the NC State bench, and it's a...
I think we're sitting on it.
Almost running Turner along the baseline. Then he comes through a double screen at the foul line. It was an illegal screen. State does a lot of stuff for Turner. He's an excellent shooter.
This is as close to a bench as you'll get here at Georgia Tech. You're right next to Mark Godfrey the entire game. Here's Jackson from beyond New York. Boy, they are really struggling from three-point range. Wow. And the answer at the other end. So while Georgia Tech is just 2 for 9 beyond the arc, points galore at the other end. 37-24 now. There it is. Jorgensen starting to heat up from the bonus sphere.
Tim, Georgia Tech's 25% for the year from three, dead last in the league, so you can't expect the Yellow Jackets to beat you from outside.
No, but when the other team like State is hitting threes and you're doing twos, that's not a good trade-off. 3:39 to play in the first half from McCamish Pavillion. NC State got out to that early start and maintaining the lead. It's the Wolfpack by 10, and we'll be back right after this. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Take a look at what's on the Ruby Tuesday game menu in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Notre Dame and Pitt today. That'll be fun because it's in the Pete, and Pittsburgh leading 35-32 in the Peterson Event Center. Clemson and Boston College, the Tigers off to another good start like they got off NC State. Then when you look down at the menu, what's coming up tonight? Well, you've got Duke and Virginia playing, and what a game that should be.
An incredible game, Tim. I've seen Virginia 3 times in person myself. I think that defensively they're as good as anybody in the country. Duke, a high-powered offensive team. It'd be interesting to see how Virginia's defense goes against the Duke offense. Can they shut them down like they've done to most everybody else?
I'm going to tell you, I think the North Carolina-Louisville game is going to be a good one as well. Louisville really shooting well the last couple of games, about 60% from the field. And their defense has always been solid. Here's the transition. State comes away with it. They've got numbers. It's a 4-on-2. Turner from beyond the arc. Got away with a walk. Crowd wanted to call. Instead, it's a missed shot.
Turner just throws his head up in the air after missing another three. A very good three-point shooter. Those have not even been close.
Cat Barber gets called for the foul on the wraparound. That's his first.
His first 16 foul.
They missed that shot, but NC State 4 of its last 7 from the field. It's been a terrific start for NC State. They don't shoot much better.
Georgia Tech only down 10, Tim. Interesting. It feels like it's more watching it here.
Yeah, I agree. If they can get it down to single digits at half, they've got to feel pretty good. Shot clock is down to 10.
Where does Georgia Tech go? Here's where they struggle as well. Hard to get a shot when the clock runs down.
Give it back to Mitchell, and he's fouled. And the foul will be called on Ralston Turner, and that's his second. So Washington has 2. Turner has 2.
17 foul.
1 and 1 here as well. 7th team foul on the Wolfpack.
1 and 1.
So Charles Mitchell at the line, the 6'8", 270-pounder from Marietta, Georgia. Makes the first. Hey, ACC fans, Haviland has given you a chance to win a VIP trip to this year's tournament and a chance to make a half-court shot for $1 million. You and a guest will get to enjoy the tournament VIP style. Then at halftime of the semifinal game, you'll have a chance to shoot for $1 million. So enter online today at theacc.com/million. Mitchell's a pretty good free throw shooter. Gets it down to single digits. So the Yellow Jackets have climbed back into this. If they can keep it single digits at the half, they've got to feel good about it. Under 2.5 to play here until intermission. Big fella outside. It's not the shot they want, but Abu with a push. So Abu picks up the personal foul.
Good call, pushing the back.
That is 2 on Abu. So Turner has 2, Washington has 2, and now Abu has 2 personals.
And all 3 are remaining on the court. Tim, I can't remember the last time Abu touched the ball at the low post after getting off to such a good start early. Here come the substitutions by Mark Gottfried.
Leonard Freeman comes in, and so does Anya. BJ Anya comes in. He's the sophomore from DeMatha High School in Hyattsville, Maryland.
Leading shot blocker in the Atlantic Coast Conference. State already with 4 blocks in the first half. Turner remaining on the court with 2 personals.
Freeman and Anya both from the Washington, D.C. area, and they give up big bodies. Coming up on the Hardy's Halftime Report, we'll give you a preview of our next Kings of the Court show as Corey Alexander sits down with Charlie Scott to talk about his great career at Carolina and the challenges that he faced as the first African-American student-athlete in Chapel Hill. That's all coming up on the Hardy's halftime report.
A 6-point game, Tim. It feels like 15, but it's only 6. Georgia Tech just creeping back in it.
And the crowd is back in it for the first time this afternoon. NC State got out to an early lead. They built that lead to 14 points, and the crowd has been silent until now. It's a 7-0 run by the Yellow Jackets. Cat Barber beyond the arc. State gets it back. And Cox comes away with it. Correction. That was Mitchell. Heath on the left side. Tough shot. Cox has to be careful. Reached over to Tim Kelly and patted him on the fanny almost sarcastically.
Yeah, there you go. They're battling for the ball here. That's awfully close, Tim. That could have went the other way. Josh Heath, a pretty darn smart player, forces a tough left-handed drive. Tech down to 6. Should have taken much more time off the clock to get a good shot. Bad shot by Heath.
Under a minute and a half to play in the first half.
Great hedge out on the ball screen by Cox.
Anya turns it over. Hayward. Any offensive foul on Hayward. Out of control. That's his first, but
Decisions, decisions, decisions. Good call. Where are you going, young man? 2 bad decisions in a row. A bad shot and a charge. One by Heath.
Hayward looked like his dad on that drive.
Yeah.
Ironhead Hayward, the great running back. But still under a minute to play and a chance to pull it even closer. Game clock at 45, shot clock at 20. Shot clock at 10.
Boy, excellent defense by Martin on Georgia's hunt. Moved his feet, challenged it. 3 straight possessions for Georgia Tech, have not gotten a decent look at the basket.
One for their last 8 shots when they pulled it down to 6.
Last shot now for NC State. Mark Gottfried with a timeout. Brian Gregory, not a very happy camper on the Georgia Tech bench.
So timeout NC State with 22 seconds remaining in the first half. Here's a look at our Haviland's Player of the Week. And none other than Jaron Grant of Notre Dame. The senior guard has been spectacular. Eddie, when you look at this, he led the 8th-ranked Fighting Irish to a pair of big ACC road wins against Virginia Tech and NC State.
Well, Tim, he can just do it. Beating Duke as well. This young man has the ability to shoot it from 3. He can create off the dribble and make shots, acrobatic shots. He's athletic. He's a good passer. That was a huge pass for the big 3 for Notre Dame, and that young man will be strongly considered for Player of the Year in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, I agree 100%. As a matter of fact, and I know, you look at 04, you look at the different players, but right now I think Jaron Grant has done more for that program at Notre Dame than anybody in the league, and would be my vote today.
Tech substitution number
NC State started this game, Eddie, 10 for 15. They've only hit 5 of their last 15.
Tim, Georgia Tech only 5 team fouls. They will give up a 16 foul here on any penetration to the basket. They ought to foul.
Shot clock is down to 10. I think I'd foul him here anyway. Right there. Now they've got to go under that under 10 offense.
Right. But Tim, I would say this, if I may beg to differ slightly, there was no penetration to the basket. Why not let the clock continue to go down, 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 down until he penetrates to the basket? There'd be 5 or 6 seconds left.
Now you extend to Barber. They jump out on him. Here's the look, back to Barber. No open shot. Now he clears and hits it at the buzzer. Oh, what a first half by Cat Barber. His 3rd 3. He has 18 points. He had moved out of the starting lineup, won his job back today, and then does this. Stop, pop, bang to end the first half.
perfect execution by NC State. Penetrate pitch. They try to help on Lacey. Barber spots up, and he's obviously feeling it today, Tim. Only 5 of 20 from 3 coming in.
Cat Barber gives them a 40-31 lead at the half, and the band plays on.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Toyota, official corporate champion of the ACC. By Hardy. And by Geico, official corporate champion of the ACC.
Welcome back inside McCamish Pavillion. Hardee's presents the Hardee's halftime report, introducing the Bacon Velveeta Patty Meltdown, new at Hardee's. Interesting first half. NC State got out to a huge lead. They built the lead to 14 points. Here at the half, it's just a 9-point lead as Georgia Tech climbed back in. Still, NC State finished the half on a pretty good little run.
Well, they sure did. Cat Barber, who started here today, maybe Mark Gottfried knew something. He had not started here recently, off to a great start. Here's a young man, Tim, has taken 23s all year in 22 games. Is 4 or 5 from 3 today and has 18 points. And you know, again, I've been there on the other bench going, wait a minute, those stats can't be true, or why does he have to do it to me? But he has knocked him down, and the ball looks great coming out of his hands as he knocks one down at the buzzer for NC State.
Yeah, no question about that. Take a look at our Nissan halftime scoreboard. And again, Notre Dame has taken the lead over Pittsburgh. Very tough place to play, the Peterson Event Center. Clemson continues to lead Boston College. And then we get into the rest of the scores. You've seen Wisconsin play, Coach. That's a fine basketball team.
They remind me a lot of Virginia, the way they go about playing the game.
How about the menu for tonight? Terrific night of basketball.
Well, absolutely. Wake Forest, Virginia Tech playing better than their records indicate. North Carolina, Louisville, unbelievable. In the last game, Duke, Virginia, doesn't get any better than that.
Louisville with a great win on the road in the blizzard up at Boston College Wednesday night. They are 10th in the country. Here, Georgia Tech trying to climb back into it, down by 9 at the half. And we'll talk more about that. Can't wait to see the Kings in the court with Charlie Scott. We'll come back here and talk about Cat Barber of NC State in the first half he had to give the Wolfpack a 9-point lead. So McCamish intermission. When we come back, we'll have more for you. Thank you. After shooting just 25% from beyond the arc and struggling with his shot, Cat Barber comes into this ball game, goes 4 for 5 from beyond the arc, and they lead by 9. Take a look at our Hyundai halftime stats, Coach.
Well, the stats certainly talk about why the score is where it is right now, Tim. NC State has shot the ball extremely well. I've gotten points off of turnovers. Georgia Tech shooting the ball great on Wednesday versus Miami. Now can't find the hoop very well. Plus, they've turned it over 6 times, and NC State's just shared the ball and done a good job here so far.
NC State built a 14-point lead. Georgia Tech pulled it back to 6. Right now it's at 9, and we're ready to start the second half. We'll be back.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Pavillion, official motor oil of the ACC. By Nissan. And by Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC.
Great Saturday afternoon in Atlanta for ACC basketball. McCamish Pavillion, nice crowd getting into it as Georgia Tech has climbed back into this ball game. Actually cut the lead, which was 14, down to 6. Had several possessions and couldn't convert, down 9 as we start the second half. ACC Player of the Year candidates, who do you like, Coach?
Well, right now, I would take Grant from Notre Dame, Tim, but there's so many games left to be played. I think, to me, as a coach, and now as a follower of college basketball very closely, it depends on who wins the league. The player of the year ought to come off the best team or the second best team in the league. To the victor go the spoils. So I'd like to cast my vote like everybody else does once the season is complete.
Now let me bring you up to date though and tell you that Notre Dame is playing at Pittsburgh, and so far in that ball game, Jaron Grant has only 2 points.
Well, let's see what he winds up with.
Yeah.
He certainly could get it going. Also like to know how many shots he got up. By the way, as we start the second half here, Marcus Georges-Hunt averaging over 13 points a game for Georgia Tech, only 1 point in the first half, and he is the only constant on the offensive end for the Yellow Jackets.
So we'll take a look and see how he ends up today as well. That will be a determining factor in the outcome of this game. Just underway, second half.
Same 5 for both teams, Tim.
And this is a push against NC State. It will be on Abu, and that'll be his 3rd. So Abu has 3, Turner has 2, Washington has 2. Kyle Washington played a long time in that first half with those 2 personals. Bolden looks at 3, fires for 3, and Sampson chases it into the corner but steps on the line. So an empty possession for Georgia Tech to start the second half. Georgia Tech has changed up his defense several times. They've gone to zone. Right now back to man.
UCLA high post. The call is cut as Mark Gottfried's right by our seats here.
Turner throws an air ball. Shot clock is at 17, so no hurry. Lacey tries to bank it in, and Jorgensen comes away with it. Jorgensen pushes it hard, buries the 2.
Travis Jorgensen again putting another good solid game together with his outstanding performance Wednesday night in Miami.
Redshirt freshman from Columbia, Missouri, Travis Jorgensen. Skip pass inside, back down by Washington. Almost unstoppable with that little sky hook.
Good coaching right there. The UCLA high post. They get him on the side of the court where he can turn and use his left hand going to the middle.
Mark Gottfried just yelled out to him, they can't stop you. He may be right. Knox takes it up strong, has it blocked.
Cut. UCLA high post. Barber off the post, pops back. Sometimes he cuts and sometimes he replaces.
Boy, Kent Barber wanted to pull the trigger on it. Instead, he went inside, and they come away without a bucket. Marcus Georges-Hunt, as coach said, has 1 point. That's it.
Only 3 attempts. Tim, he's got to get more shots up than that.
The average is 14. Nice give and go.
It's 4 on Abu, Tim.
And the foul is on Abu, and that will be 4. And immediately, Mark Gottfried reaches to the bench. Abu will come out, and Freeman will come back in to replace him.
Well, the penetration and the kick, and Abu comes over the back right there. Can't really see it, but that was a good call.
Jorgensen brings it in. Marcus Georges-Hunt working against Turner.
NC State coach is calling out ISO for Hunt. Very well scouted and defended.
Hayward is not a shooter. Gives it back to Georges-Hunt. Shot clock is at 14. And the 3-ball from way outside by Sampson. Sampson now 9 of 30 for the year. And the foul will be, I believe, on Marcus Georges-Hunt.
I think the Yellow Jackets a little too happy with that basket, Tim. They don't sprint back on a made basket. This is a tough shot. Clock running down, hand up. Mark Gottfried's not too concerned with that shot, even though it goes in. But then Georgia Tech not sprinting back and picking up properly and fouling Turner as he gets to the basket.
Turner, an outstanding free throw shooter, 88% from the line. And misses the first. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time.
You jinxed him, Tim Brandt. Your fault.
I haven't played D against him yet. And he makes the second. NC State is 4-1 against Georgia Tech under head coach Mark Gottfried. 4 in a row, as a matter of fact. But the Pack needed a runner by T.J. Warren with 6 seconds left in overtime to win last year. Bolden dribbled into trouble. Now they double down on Cox. And a great putback by Sampson with the left hand.
Well, very good. Sampson's man came over to double the low post, which freed him up on the offensive board on the weak side.
Ralph Sampson's son tremendously improved. Chris Bolden brings it down and bring it back out to Jorgensen.
5-point game, Tim.
That's as close as it's been since it was 5-0. Now, if you're Georgia Tech, I'm thinking no hurry about anything. Marcus Georges-Hunt continues to struggle. Very rarely do you see him miss that shot. Here's Turner for three. Lacey right down Main Street. It'll be Georgia Tech basketball. NC State just 1 for 7 this half. The lead is down to 5. Downtown Atlanta on a gorgeous day in January, final day in January as we head into February, and we're better to have lunch. The Varsity. That's where Coach was eating. I caught him in there.
Great onion rings.
I saw you have a cheese chili slaw dog too.
I did not.
Here's that last play again. They've changed the call. Now they say it was off Georgia Tech.
But, I mean, that could go either way, Tim. I'm not sure. Even watching the replay, we did not have a good look at it live.
I think they got it right. I think it went off the thigh, and we're even. NC State works it around the perimeter. Turner, pull-up jumper.
He's really struggling today, shooting the basketball. An outstanding shooter is Turner.
Just 1 for 8. They double down on Mitchell. They kick it out to Jorgensen. Another tough shot. Marcus Georges-Hunt really frustrated.
That was a foul, in my opinion.
He's calling for one. He thought he was fouled.
Well, the guards from NC State now struggling shooting the ball, and when the guards struggle for State shooting, the results have not been positive. Boo on the bench with 4. NC State struggling in the half court.
2 of their last 16 from the floor. Oh, nice play. And Marcus Georges-Hunt will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. Foul is on Washington. That's his 3rd.
Brian Gregory just not understanding why that wasn't a foul right away. Late whistle.
Well, right now, Brian Gregory doesn't feel like he's getting anything. When that last play out of bounds, he was telling the official, that's the 3rd one that you've given them that we deserved. Meanwhile, Marcus Georges-Hunt, who has struggled today with the with the basketball, to shoot the basketball, makes the free throw. I am your professional pronouncer.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Using that Maryland degree.
Easy now.
Yep.
Georges-Hunt has another one coming. He averages 14. Trying to make it a 3-point ball game. And he does. It's as close as it's been since it was 4-0.
Right where they need to be. And again, to me, Tim, sitting here, obviously watching it live, if I didn't look up at the scoreboard, I'd say NC State was up 8 or 10.
Here we go. Game on.
Huge game for both teams. I think particularly for State, coming in here with a 3-game losing streak.
Wolfpack with only 1 point in almost 4 minutes. Martin traveled. Turnover, NC State.
As good as they looked early offensively, that's how bad they look offensively here in the second half. 6 turnover already.
And Georgia Tech has a chance to pull within 1 or tie the score.
Whitney Stevens, a very good 3-point shooter, has not gotten one off yet, but he could bottom one here if he gets a good look.
Marcus Georges-Hunt pulls him within 1. Who would have believed this after the start that Georgia Tech had against State? State got out to a great start and built a 14-point lead right out of the gate. It's a 9-0 Georgia Tech run now. Washington buries the jumper.
NC State going to a 2-3 zone as Mark Goffrey screams out 2. Again, Georgia Tech last in the league in three-point field goal percentage, but they've got their best shooter on the court.
Both coaches working hard here in the second half. Sampson looks inside. Cox. Shot clock at 8.
And there was their best shooter missing.
And he walked. Stevens walked. Started to go up, saw a defender, came back down. 7th Tech turnover. Georgia Tech has played almost everybody it's played tightly. In the ACC, they've lost by 1, 7, 4, 7. I mean, it's unbelievable how they hang around, and there is the buried jumper, which really is big for Lacey. He's been quiet.
Georgia Tech, double overtime loss at Notre Dame, could have very easily beaten the Fighting Irish in South Bend. They're capable.
Georgia Tech will use a lot of the clock, shorten the game. Inside to Mitchell. Way back out front and move 35.
Great hustle by Stevens. Every time Mitchell touches the ball, you got to get nervous if you're a Georgia Tech fan. Such a poor passer, but a great rebounder.
Got that jump hook that he uses. This is Heath with a jumper. Almost like he guided it. And that'll start to break, and this will be a 3-on-1, left side, easy.
Well, Heath's the point guard taking a corner jumper, Tim. The 2 guards should be rotating back, and that should be George's Hunt. No defensive rotation, an easy run out for NC State.
It's a 6-0 run with that Cody Martin dunk. Cody Martin, Caleb Martin, 6'6", 205-pounders. Twins. And will be big-time players. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Georgia Tech, one of its last 8 shots. That's it. Gone cold. NC State hit last 3, but only 4 of 12 this half.
Well, and Cat Barber, Tim, has not scored this half and has not even taken a shot. Certainly Georgia Tech is going to try to, tilt their defense toward Cat Barber, excuse me. But, the great first half, and yet he's played a nice floor game. Sometimes the ball just doesn't get to you when you're open. And he shouldn't force, Tim. This game is all about decision-making, shot selection, passing. It's a game of decisions.
Sampson comes back into the ball game for Georgia Tech. He's got 5 points this half. He was active on the boards. He got a little breather, and here's Charles Mitchell. You got the feeling that every possession now for Georgia Tech is magnified because they struggle for points so badly.
Well, I agree with that. They threw it inside. Mitchell, to me, looked like he might have walked. Nice lefty jump hook in the lane.
Yellow Jackets pick up their defense a little bit, extend it. They jump out on Barber. Washington for 2. That's a brick. George's Hunt comes away with it.
Knuckleball brick.
Here's Sampson. He's got the touch.
Yeah, he's a good facing shooter again. More comfortable facing. Nice pass by Quentin Stevens to the short corner.
And it's a 1-possession game again.
So you stop the pass to the high post step out to Washington. It does bother the NC State offense.
Martin had his 3 halfway down and came back out. Nice look. Georges Hunt banks it in. He'll go to the line for one more. Foul is on Martin, his first. Marcus Georges Hunt. Hesitation. The bank's open, and he'll go to the line and try to tie this game.
We need him to be our go-to guy on the court. We need him to be the most assertive guy on the court. And he has grown up right in front of you. The maturity level is off the charts. His ability to sustain and have that consistent performance where night in and night out he knows that he's the best player on the court. That's what we need from him.
They need it, but he has struggled here today. He's talking about his leading scorer, Marcus Georges Hunt. But the junior from College Park, Georgia, is going to the line now. He's a 76% free throw shooter. He's got one shot and a chance to tie the game. The Yellow Jackets have never led, and it's never been tied.
Although, Tim, already 6 points in the second half for Georges Hunt.
He gets the roll, and we have our first tie. Georgia Tech has fought its way back from 14 points down. Back to Turner. Tried to give and go, couldn't get it. It's a 3-on-1. Jorgensen, first lead of the game for Georgia Tech.
Turnovers lead to easy baskets. The Yellow Jackets running out. Nice pass by Georges Hunt. And Mark Godfrey takes a timeout for the NC State Wolfpack. The deflection, Georges Hunt pushing the middle, head up, under control. Look away pass. Easy layup by Jorgensen.
It's an 8-0 run by Georgia Tech. McCamish Pavillion is rocking.
Well, Tim, I think this one's going down to the wire. And looking at some of the ACC notes today, I was a little taken back that road teams have won almost 50% of the time so far in the league. It's 31-27 for the home team. So ACC teams have played very well on the road. And NC State is a team that plays well on the road. So there are going to be a lot of close games the rest of the season, and there have been already a bunch so far this year.
Abu on the bench with 3 personal fouls. This half, or 4 personals, correction. It's 20-9, Georgia Tech. Georges Hunt with 7, Sampson with 7. And Turner gets 2 of them back, including the lead.
He's a good shooter, although he has not shot well here today. Shooters need to continue to shoot good shots.
How close are we to the coaches? I said he gets 2 of them back. Mark Godfrey says that's a 3, Tim.
Oh, wow. Travis Jorgensen having a heck of a game. That's an awfully good penetration. Great dish for the easy basket for the Yellow Jackets.
Charles Mitchell coming to life. He came off the bench and gave him 6 quick points in the first half. Tech by 1. Jorgensen very wisely kicks it up. Marcus Georges Hunt. Bang!
NC State, poor transition defense, Tim. I think transition defense is the most undercoached part of basketball, and NC State takes another timeout.
Marcus Georges Hunt now with 1,000 career points and gives Tech the lead by 4.
Well, nice pitch ahead by Travis Jorgensen. Having a heck of a game here, Tim, averaging 3 points a game. He's already got 10 so far here today and just makes the right decision. Good, tough savvy player, 3 assists, no turnovers as well.
He was terrific in the Miami game with 24 points. Had back-to-back 20-point games. And while he struggled in the first half to find a range, those were big.
Well, you can't keep a good player down for 40 minutes, and what I like about Georges Hunt is he has not forced the issue here in the second half. He is still waiting for good shots. It's a 40-minute game, and he has come alive here. And the Yellow Jackets, really, Tim, without Georges Hunt playing well, they have very little chance to win.
So 8:47 left in the ball game. Georgia Tech has hit its last 6 shots and forced some turnovers. Abu back in the ball game. Washington's jumper, air ball. Mitchell comes away with it.
Well, that wasn't even close. NC State offensively has been basically inept him here in the second half. Hard to believe. So good in the first half and so poor in the second half. Same team.
New 35. Hayward had the shot, but he's not a good shooter. Wisely gives it back to Jorgensen.
Good decision by Hayward.
And a turnover by Jorgensen. Hayward got back defensively, did not take the charge, disrupted things, set up a 2-on-1, and lost out of bounds. A little bit sloppy and stretchy here in the ballgame.
That's a bounce pass, Tim, for an easy layup. We got a close one here in Atlanta. Georgia Tech up 4.
We'll be back after this break from the ACC stations. Four-point game. Georgia Tech has taken the lead. Take a look at our game summary presented by Valero, and what a difference a half makes.
Well, again, Barber hadn't taken a shot, so it's hard to score. Georges Hunt really looking to attack the basket more, but what I like again, Tim, is he's not forcing the issue. As Georges Hunt goes, so do the Yellow Jackets.
Lacey, Washington, Abu, Barber, and Lee come out.
Well, Mark Godfrey not waiting any longer to put Abu back in with 4 fouls.
This is Marcus Georges Hunt. Oh, tough shot. He's back.
He's back. He's attacking the basket, Tim. Acrobatic.
He's got 13 points. Foul's going to be called on Heath. That's his second personal. Coaches are working hard today. That's the first time that Mark Gottfried has sat down all day.
If you defend NC State, anytime the ball goes to the high post, there's a duck in at the low post. That's the key. Georgia Tech's post must be alert to the high-low post duck-in play.
Another quick personal by Heath, but he's all over Barber. Now Barber just blows by him. And another foul. Heath has picked up 3 personals in a matter of 1:15.
Well, Barber just blew by him off the dribble. Poor one-on-one defense by Josh Heath. He just takes him, and no rotation, no help on the weak side.
That's his first shot in the second half. So Barber goes to the line. He's a 69% free throw shooter. 3-point game.
NC State first time full court pressure.
They get it across the timeline. Marcus Georges Hunt gets the roll.
Well, excellent press offense. Anytime you're pressed, Tim, you must try to take it through the press and attack the defense to see if you can make them pay for pressing.
Washington. Lacey takes it at the basket. He's fouled, and the bucket will count.
Well, that's 2 in a row, getting beat off the dribble. I don't care, Tim, what defense you play. Zone, man, it doesn't matter. If you can't guard the ball one-on-one, you're not going to have a very good defensive team.
Foul was on Corey Hayward, his second. He brings a lot of energy when he comes into the game, but he struggles with his shot.
Well, he's a good defender. That's why he's in the game. That's Heath and Hayward. 2 possessions in a row, giving up the old traditional three-point play.
Lacey misses the free throw. He went over 1,000 points for his career today. He misses a very important free throw there.
Georgia Tech's bigs handle the ball a lot away from the basket. If I was NC State, I'd pressure the passer.
And Lee gets called for the personal here, trying to stay up with Georgia's Hunt.
5 fouls on State, 4 on Georgia Tech, Tim. Foul shooting will come into play at some point.
Chris Bolden comes in for Hayward. Back to Sampson. This is for 3. Lacey goes inside. A boot turnaround. He'll go to the line to shoot 2. The foul will be on Sampson.
Tech foul charge to number 13, Robert Sampson, his second.
Well, State started off going to Abu. He's very effective early. Then they forgot about him for the last 20 minutes. Tim, foul trouble puts him on the bench. Now they go back to him. Smart play by Mark Gottfried. They got to make the free throws, however.
And he struggled with that this year. 49% at the line. Had his first career double-double against Clemson. 15 points, 12 rebounds in that game.
I like this substitution. Mitchell for Sampson. It'll be a better defensive matchup on Abu.
And he makes the second. So with 6 minutes to play in the ball game, it is 60-58, Georgia Tech.
Barber awfully good guarding the ball out front, almost a 5-second count.
Marcus George's Hunt in the lane, no foul, good defense, ball still loose. And Marcus Hunt knocked it off NC State. It'll belong to the Yellow Jackets.
Tech substitution, number 10, Travis Jorgensen.
And Brian Gregory, the head coach of the Yellow Jackets, says we finally got one. Here's Jorgensen. He's played a nice ball game. And this foul is on Lacey. Ticky-tack, second personal on Lacey.
That is a ticky-tack. And that is the 6th on the Wolfpack. 1-1 from here on out.
So a new 35 for the Yellow Jackets. Jorgensen knows that. Try to take a little time off. You're right. Every time Mitchell touches it, the fans cringe.
Yeah.
Good rebounder. Got a nice little hook down low, but struggles with his passing. And there's that hook.
Washington a little late getting over on the roll.
But how about Charles Mitchell today? Came off the bench and has contributed 14 points.
Yeah, big body. When he's in low, he's very effective, Tim.
And this foul will be called on Cox. He gives a very sarcastic, frustrating smile, but he picks up the personal.
Well, only Cox's first. That actually is a good foul instead of giving up an easy basket to Abu. Make him earn them at the foul line, Tim.
Yeah, exactly, where we
Good
just
foul.
told you that he has struggled all year. The 6'8" freshman from Boston, Massachusetts. This is the first. Said he's been following that blizzard very closely, and they're expecting another 8 or 10 inches this weekend.
Mom and Dad, that's why I went to North Carolina State to go to school.
Exactly.
Told you.
State fans are not booing, they're saying Abu. He's got another one coming. And misses that. And Mitchell comes away with it.
Again, excellent foul by Cox. Excellent. Why give him a layup when you can put him on the foul line? A lot of time left here. NC State needs to stay solid defensively.
Different body language from the Yellow Jackets now. They trailed by 14 in this ball game.
Clock running down. Where does Georgia Tech go?
They got to give it to Marcus Georges Hunt, and he throws an air ball. Got late in the shot clock and didn't really get the shot they wanted.
Look at how high out Cox is hedging.
Marcus Georges Hunt with a one-handed rebound.
Not the shot NC State and Mark Gottfried were hoping for on that possession, a facing 12-footer by Abu.
So again, Brian Gregory spreads the court, puts his hands up like, let's take our time. But at the same time, you can't get too deep in the shot clock. You've got to get what you want.
Well, that's correct, Tim. They really have nobody to go to.
And they throw it away. 3:34 remaining in this ball game from Atlanta. Georgia Tech has climbed back in, but can they hold on? (62-58), Georgia Tech leading NC State. Coming up Tuesday on the ACC Network, 10th ranked Louisville, playing at a very high level recently, takes on Miami, and the Canes need a win. Jim Larinaga waiting down there for Louisville. NC State, meanwhile, moves on to Wake Forest, and the Demon Deacons continue to improve with Danny Manning. Louisville and Miami, or NC State and Wake Forest. That's Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern.
I think a much-needed timeout for both teams there, Tim. State coming out with the possession. Let's see what Mark Gottfried has drawn up at the timeout. Who's he trying to look for? Baseline screens for Turner.
And the foul.
That's a set that Mark Gottfried likes. They run Turner off the baseline screens.
It's a foul on Corey Hayward. That's his third. And they're going to look at whether it's a 2 or a 3.
Tim, to me, guarding that play, the baseline screen play for Turner, Notre Dame did it very well. I think you need to switch out, if necessary, to make sure Turner doesn't get a good look. That time, Hayward was shadowing him off the screen and just got there a little late on the catch. Switching out could prevent that play.
So the officials over here at the scores table looking at this replay. Here it is. They're trying to determine whether this was a 3 or a 2.
Here comes Turner faking one way off the screen. Pitches it back. Here he comes off the baseline screens by the posts. Hayward a little late. Hard to see from that angle.
I believe they called it a 2, so that you'd need indisputable video evidence to turn that over. And you didn't get it on that replay. Very good officiating crew. Tim Nestor, Timmy Kelly, William Humes.
Yeah, they're excellent. You know, interesting. It tells you the confidence Mark Gottfried has in Ralston Turner. He is 1 of 9 here today. This is a crucial possession out of the timeout, and they go to Turner.
Here's another angle. He's got a foot on the line.
I would agree.
So Tim Nestor and Tim Kelly, they want that shot, and they want to blow up his foot. so they can see exactly if it's on the line or not.
And this is
I don't know. That's close.
It's very, very close. Not sure the referees still, they've got the decision here, and it's a 3, they're giving them 3.
That's big.
Unbelievable. 4-point game, 3:19 to go. And here's 88% foul shooter in ACC play, number 2 in the league.
Exactly, so this will be a 4-point play. Brian Kelly just shakes his head.
Excellent rotation, very little motion in the stroke. It looks like it's going in as soon as it comes out of his hands, Tim.
6'5", 205-pound redshirt senior from Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Said a 4-point play, obviously the 3-point free throws.
Trevor Lacey from Huntsville, Alabama. So you've got an all-Alabama backcourt here. 2 of their best players from the state of Alabama and 2 former SEC players.
Trying to make it a 1-point game.
Fouling fouling the 3-point shooter is a cardinal no-no. That can't happen.
Here's Jorgensen. Knocked out of bounds. So Lacey with good defense, 16 on the shot clock. And the crowd has gotten quiet in here. Here, Mark Godfrey. You can almost hear everything he's saying throughout the arena. Shot clock now at 8. Jorgensen's got to go. Good look to Cox. And they tip it back out for a new 35.
Yeah, I'm not sure Cox even knew that pass was coming. Here's again Georgia Tech's dilemma, Brian Gregory's dilemma. Where do you go outside of George's Hunt? If you keep it out of his hands, what does Georgia Tech do to score? I think they need to go inside to Mitchell. He's a 70% foul shooter, and take it to Abu.
Jorgensen takes the shot. Mitchell with another rebound. New 35. Marcus George's Hunt is fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And the second best offensive rebounding team in the league, showing you why. Great effort on the offensive board by Georgia Tech.
Mark Godfrey goes down his bench and says, get some rebounds.
Well, that's not the shot you want. Jorgensen, as the clock runs down. Mitchell misses a bunny. Tipped out by Abu, and it goes right to George's Hunt, who gets fouled.
And Abu fouls out, disqualified with 5 personal fouls. So they bring Kyle Washington back into the ball game. And he has 3 personals. So Abu would take a seat at the end of the bench. DQ'd. George's Hunt will try to increase the lead. Marcus George's Hunt, 76% free throw shooter. Corey Hayward comes back into the ball game. As you said, for defensive purposes.
Well, and I would look for State to run Turner again off the baseline screens.
And George's Hunt has 16 points this half.
Three down is the call. UCLA high post.
NC State hasn't had a field goal in 4 minutes.
Into the baseline screens. And Hayward just shadowing Turner, staying right on his tail.
Tough shot, and he buries it. Trevor Lacey. He's got 14 points. Timeout, Georgia Tech. We're tied at 64.
Nice play, good call. They run Turner off the baseline screens, but then they reverse it and they take Lacey and run him off the single screen. It's a counter to going to Turner, coming off the double, back off the single baseline screen to the outstanding player in Trevor Lacey. Two options. Lacey was the second option on that particular play.
Georgia Tech is 6-4 at home this season, trying to get their 7th here at McCamish Pavillion. Again, NC State got out to a blistering start and built a 14-point lead in the first half. Georgia Tech chipped away with it, basically using defense, forcing some turnovers, climbed back in and took the lead in the second half. And now NC State on a 10-4 run and tying it at 64. Abdul Malik Abu has fouled out for NC State.
Both teams, Tim, still shooting the 1-and-1. Both have 17 fouls.
Marcus Georges-Hunt to the basket, gets the roll.
And that's the Georgia Tech play coming out. It's a clear out for the right-handed player to drive right. Excellent call by Brian Gregory.
1:23 to play. Yellow Jackets by 2. Barber has been quiet after 18 in the first half. Until now. Tied at 66.
Well, that was good offense by Barber. Very good defense by Jorgensen, a talented young man, jumping up in the lane and knocking it down.
60 seconds left. Marcus Georges-Hunt. Bold. The putback. Great play by Cox.
Georgia Tech just kicking NC State's tail around the boards, particularly on the offensive end.
30-second timeout.
The penetration, the pitch. Bolden gets inside the 3. And Cox right there to clean it up. You know, Tim, an offensive player is allowed to box out. We all talk about boxing out on the defensive end. Well, an offensive rebounder can get inside and box out to clear the space for him to offensive rebound and score, and that's what Cox did.
Those are two big bodies, too, Coach. Charles Mitchell, 6'8", 270. DeMarco Cox, 6'8", 285.
Huge. I mean, football potential huge. Who knows? You never know. Now, 51 seconds left here, Tim. NC State could try to get a quick hitter here and perhaps try to play 2 for 1, because if they could get a quick hitter here, a real quick hitter, they would be guaranteed to get the ball back. However, and this is a big however, you don't want to force one up, take a bad shot just for the sake of getting a second opportunity.
NC State has been a stock market team this year, up and down. They're just 1-2 on the road in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Florida State the only win. Georgia Tech trying to steal one here at home today.
Baseline screens for Turner.
25 on the shot clock, 40 on the game clock. They're going to call this foul on Cox. I thought he tripped over his shoe, but, well, they called a trip.
Tech foul charge to number 3, Marcus Georges-Hunt.
So the foul is on Marcus Georges-Hunt. That's his 3rd personal. Now they correct it, and it will be on DeMarco Cox. DeMarco Georges-Hunt said, "What are you talking about? I wasn't even near the foul."
Not sure that one is correct, Tim. Huge call. These are big free throws. We talked before that this could come down to a free throw shooting contest. These are huge. Box outs for Georgia Tech, very important.
Makes the first. Man, bodies are slamming. Guys are hitting the floor.
Tim, a 2.3 second differential between game clock and 35-second shot clock. Georgia Tech should play for the last shot of the game to try to win this if Washington makes this free throw.
This is to tie it.
Wolfpack substitution number 21.
Nice substitution by Mark Godfrey. He puts in the leading shot blocker in the Atlantic Coast Conference for defenses in B.J. Anya.
Fourth tie of the game.
Georgia Tech, Tim, with about 8 seconds to go, should attack, try to win this game. It gives them a chance to offensive rebound if they miss. Sometimes that is the best offense in this situation. But if they miss, it will not give NC State a chance to counterattack and score.
15 on the shot clock. You mentioned the 2.3 differential.
You got to make Hunt give it up.
Hunt takes it right down the lane. Tough shot. But lost out of bounds by NC State.
This can be reviewed here, Tim.
They'll take another look at it.
The acrobatic reverse spin dribble to his left hand. Hunt cannot get it to go down. And this is a very, very important call. 4.7 seconds to go. It would give Georgia Tech a lot of time to try to score.
I think it's a pretty good call.
Oh, that's definitely off of NC State.
Yeah, absolutely. That went off Freeman. And then carried out of bounds after that by State. So that'll belong to Georgia Tech, I believe.
I would agree. Another look at it here. Right there, it looks perhaps off.
Freeman is number 10. And then carried out of bounds here.
Right off of Anya. All right, here, Tim, you want to get it in if you're Georgia Tech and drive the ball to the basket. Well, it's interesting defensive situation here for NC State.
Now the shot clock is off. The final 4.7 seconds of the ball game.
Timeout, Georgia Tech.
Timeout, Georgia Tech. A full timeout.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By your Carolina Ford dealers. By Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by Hyundai.
McCamish Pavillion has been sensational today. I don't think the fans even knew what to expect when they came in here. Georgia Tech had struggled, NC State had struggled, but Georgia Tech was coming off that win against Miami, so they are trying to build on that momentum. NC State, those losses have all been close. How about against Wofford? This was in December. Trevor Lacey's shot at the buzzer didn't count. Too late, 55-54 loss. Then they played North Carolina down to the wire. Cody Martin's tip followed. It rims out, 81-79 loss. And then against Notre Dame, this was a heartbreaker.
Well, every year you're going to get a number of close games, a bunch, and quite frankly, Tim, how you perform in a number of close games determines your season, quite frankly. Now, this is a tough situation for NC State. 4.7 seconds. The ball is right under Georgia Tech's basket. Great advantage for Georgia Tech. If they get it in, it should be to a perimeter player who should drive the ball to the basket. Georgia Tech's goal here is to get fouled. If I'm NC State, I probably would be switching screens here and make sure I cover the ball on the pass in.
Are we headed for overtime? We'll find out. Under 5 to play. Marcus Georges Hunt. Offensive foul.
Well, 1.8 seconds left. Mark Godfrey now wants a timeout. I like the play. He got it into the best player. He drives it. State knows it. They collapse.
Well, I don't know.
And I think that's a bad call myself.
Yeah.
That's a block. I don't think the defender Anya was set here. Bad call.
1.8 seconds remain.
I don't think that was even close, Tim, to having the feet set to draw the charge.
NC State has one timeout left. Georgia Tech none. I think that's a moot point with 1.8 seconds left.
Well, here now, NC State, well, they were in this situation with North Carolina in Raleigh. They threw it long. There was a push-off called on that play. So I would look to NC State, 1.8. You probably have 2 dribbles as we see the collision. 2 dribbles maybe, Tim, and a shot. I would think if you're NC State, the first pass in needs to go to at least the half-court line and 1 or 2 dribbles to score. If I'm Georgia Tech and what they're doing, Cox will be on the ball with size to make the inbound pass by Martin difficult. Obviously, no foul if you're Georgia Tech.
Here comes the long pass. The shot is good if it goes. And we're going into overtime.
At the end of regulation, the score is tied at 68. There will be a 5-minute overtime period.
So a 5-minute overtime period.
Well, nice play by NC State. They get it in toward the half-court line. 1 dribble, and Lacey gets the heave. Contested shot, no foul by Georges Hunt. Good offense, good defense, overtime.
So get another beverage, a log on the fire. We've got 5 more minutes to play in Atlanta. We're ready to go into overtime, tied at 68, NC State and Georgia Tech. Other scores, let's take you to Pittsburgh, where Notre Dame goes down today. Pittsburgh playing in the Peterson Event Center, always tough. James Robinson, the hero, he is the star of that Pittsburgh team. And of course, here's a guy who knows when the game's on the line, he's got to come up big. And today, he did. Takes it right at the basket. Now, Notre Dame did have a chance to tie in this ball game. Time remaining. 3, 2, 1. It's good if it goes, but it comes out too late. And Pittsburgh holds on to win in the Pete this afternoon up in Oakland, Pennsylvania. The Oakland section of Pittsburgh loves its sports. That's where Dan Marino was from.
I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
Another Pitt superstar.
There you go.
So Georgia Tech will have it first here as we start the overtime period.
Skate doubling the post.
Bolden from way outside, not even close. And Mitchell is fouled. That you were talking about, Coach, getting the big guy to the line.
Well, 70%. I take my chances. I'd like to see them go inside to Mitchell, not have Mitchell continue to have to get it off the board.
Foul was on Freeman. And Mitchell at the line.
Tim, that's only Georgia Tech's 19th offensive rebound here.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Those 2 big guys in there are hard to move.
Charles Mitchell was first and second in the Atlantic Coast Conference on offensive rebounding most of this year.
Nice substitution by Mark Godfrey, I think, going to Anya to get some more bulk in for the Wolfpack.
But he misses the second. And Cox, rather than holding on and pulling it down, tried to tip it out, and it was blocked. So the Jackets by 1. Foul on Hayward. And that is 4 on Corey Hayward.
Well, that's a bad foul, in my opinion, Tim. Why foul a guy who's only 89, 88, 89% at the foul line? You might as well just give him 2. Unless I jinx him.
Well, no, you're right. He's made 38 of his 43 free throws this year. So Mitchell made 1 of 2 at one end. See what Turner does here.
Back on the floor for the Jackets, Chris Bolden.
Has another one coming. And he misses the second.
And I jinxed him.
So both teams now 1 for 2 at the line here in overtime. Mark Godfrey obviously wanted to travel.
10 on the clock, Tim.
But it's in the hands of Marcus Georges-Hunt. And Mitchell gets the bucket. He'll go to the line for one more.
Wolfpack foul charge, number 32, Kyle Washington.
I mean, the big guys inside, the shot blockers go over to try to block it on you, but they don't get it. And when you go to block shots, you leave your defender. If you don't block it, it frees up the offensive board.
For as big as he is, Mitchell's pretty bouncy under there. And an excellent free throw
Nice
shooter
touch.
as you pulled out. .72-69 Jackets.
Baseline screens, here they come along the baseline for Turner.
Tough shot, buries it.
That's a wow, that was tough. Still think the post ought to switch out. The last screener on the baseline defender should switch out to Turner and cover the ball, deny that pass.
The 6th tie of the game. Jorgensen with a good move, good drop. Cox stays after it and puts it in. Mark Godfrey cannot believe the dominance on the boards. Just shakes his head.
Best offense for Georgia Tech has been the offensive board. They just sort of throw it up there and let the big fellas go get it.
Lacey. There's Cox. The difference in this overtime period may be on the boards.
And on the other side here, Tim, State's one and done. If they don't make it, they've got no offensive rebounding.
It certainly was the difference in regulation. Got Georgia Tech back in this game after being down by 14.
Mitchell inside.
Georges-Hunt banks it in.
Oh, that's a tough shot. Most righties cannot get to the basket with their left hand like Marcus Georges-Hunt can.
Timeout, NC State. Marcus Georges-Hunt has taken this ball game over since intermission. His club leads by 4. Both of these teams are 0-1 in overtime this year. But with Georgia Tech dominating the board 6-1 in overtime, they've climbed back in this and taken the lead. Marcus Georges-Hunt scored 1 point in the first half. That was it. He had 18 in the second half and got the Jackets back in it. And then here in overtime, big bucket. And Marcus Georges-Hunt is the story of the game.
Well, he is, Tim, and you got to keep him in front, not doing a very good job. NC State's defense letting him knife. He's big and strong. It's hard, but you got to body him up and keep him from getting into the lane.
Final 2 minutes. The lead is 4. NC State searching for points. Cat Barber had 18 in the first half, then went silent. Nice look underneath, and it's a 2-point game.
Both coaches doing great jobs coming out of timeouts, getting baskets. Well done.
Marcus Georges-Hunt. Godfrey yells out, everybody help. He knows where the ball is.
Keep him in front, and now you got to get a rebound if you're NC State.
Final 6. And they come away empty. Chance to tie or take the lead for the Pack. Lacey with a nice drop pass, and we're tied. Washington had the back door open, and he took it, and a great delivery.
Trevor Lacey can do a lot of things well. Great assist-error ratio. He can shoot the 3. He can get to the basket. He's a good foul shooter. He's had a terrific year for the Wolfpack.
7th tie of the game, and a foul is called underneath. And the foul will be on Ralston Turner, his 3rd.
Lacey, the nice pocket pass, penetrates, the help. Nice play by the Wolfpack. Tim, there's an 8-second differential now between game clock and shot clock here, so this is almost going to work out for perhaps a 2-for-1, because Georgia Tech is guaranteed to get the ball back at least one more time.
Marcus Georges-Hunt makes the free throw. The 6'5" junior from College Park, Georgia. He went over 1,000 points for his career today in the second half. 43rd player to do that in the history of Georgia Tech. Trying to be the hero this afternoon. Makes them both. They lead by 2. This is for 3. Empty. 29 seconds left.
Get it in Hunt's hand, Marcus Georges-Hunt's hand. Get it in a good foul shooter.
Absolutely, because they were yelling foul. You knew they had to foul, and they fouled Jorgensen. So the foul on Barber, only his 2nd foul. Moot point now with 19.4 seconds left. Jorgensen is an 88% free throw shooter, but has not been to the line that much. Came into this game hitting 7 of his 8 free throws for the year. And gets the roll.
Nice touch there, Tim. That's a 3-point differential, 19.4. NC State, plenty of time. They've got to take it down, get the first good shot they get. Time out. They've got timeouts left. They've got
huge free throw there. Makes it a 2-possession game.
Again, State needs to take this, take it to the basket, a quick 2. They could penetrate it and pitch it for a wide open 3. A 2 is all they need. Timeout. If they miss, they got to foul right away.
Taking a lot of time off the clock.
Great switch out by Georges-Hunt.
8 seconds left. And Georgia Tech holds them to a 2 with 6.5 seconds left. Brian Gregory had gone to a small lineup defensively. Didn't have any rebounders on there. Just playing for the 2. They get the 2. Now they get the ball back.
And Tim, that let Georges-Hunt on the last post screener. So he did switch out on the baseline screens to Turner when Turner came off. They're running Turner off the baseline screens. And then it goes back in and Lacey drives it.
Okay, that was the tying basket. And the officials again looking at replays. It's a 2-point game. Georgia Tech is leading with 6.5 seconds left.
All right, here, Tim, now Georgia Tech has 1 timeout left. If you can't get it inbounds.
They were just checking the time.
Yeah, so. Right, correct, on the drive by Lacey. 6.5 here, Tim. Again, Georgia Tech needs to get the ball inbounds, obviously, to a good foul shooter. They can run the baseline, which is a huge advantage. And if they can't get it in, then they need to use their timeout.
Well, you want Travis Jorgensen or Marcus Georges-Hunt to have this basketball. Those are your 2 free throw shooters.
I'm a little surprised, excuse me, Tim, that Georges-Hunt's taking it out.
Well, I'm sure he'll get it right back.
He can run the baseline, which he should. Start one way and run the baseline.
Get it to Stevens. Stevens is fouled with 4.9 seconds left. So the foul is on Turner. That's his 4th. Georgia Tech 6 for 7 at the line here in the overtime. NC State 1 of 2.
Stevens a good shooter, 83% from the foul line.
Hasn't been to the line that much. Came into this game hitting 10 of his 12. That all changes in overtime. gets a little more difficult. And he misses it.
Tim, if he makes this to go up 3, if I'm Georgia Tech, I'm fouling in the backcourt as they get toward the half-court line. I'm not letting them make a 3 to tie it.
And he misses them both. A 3 can win it for NC State. This shot is good if it goes. Perfect game!
NC State 81, Georgia Tech 80.
They'll look at it. But that's ball game.
Well, a good foul shooter misses 2 free throws. They push it up to Lacey.
And no question about it being a 3.
And the big shot maker comes through at the buzzer. Tough loss for Georgia Tech.
Lacey
Very
with 18 points and the game winner. For highlights and must-see moments from this game and others, check out theacc.com. Our next telecast Tuesday at 8 Eastern. Some of you will see number 10 Louisville against number 23 Miami. Others will get NC State at Wake Forest. You've been watching coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.